right, everybody, it is showtime. Let us kill the music, even though it was so awesome. We are here on a Tuesday evening with episode 16 of All Things Fantasy Grounds. We're talking about Syrinscape and other sound crap. My co-host this evening is Fury Fate because Leroon is incommunicado. He's a James Bond villain, as I explained last show, so he's just not here tonight. But Fury is here with me. How you doing, Fury?
Hey Rob, how are you doing yourself?
I'm
Having
doing
a good day?
excellent. Yeah. I slept most of the day, so I'm pretty fired up right now. And our special guest is Gwydion. How's it going, Gwydion?
Doing great. Thanks for having me on. It's nice to be here.
Awesome. So before we get into it, I will do as I always do. I will share my screen so that people can see what we see. And then I will read the disclaimer for the show. We always want to remind people that All Things Fantasy Grounds talk show is meant to teach and help, but the opinions stated by the three of us are not those of Smiteworks USA LLC or Fantasy Grounds or Syrinscape or
Or any of the
Deluxe
other
Oz.
political
or anything,
programs.
any political
Right.
program. They're not anybody's opinions except they're for the three of us. So
Exactly.
we just want to make that clear. And to get started, why don't we ask Gwydion to explain who you are and what you're all about in regards to Fantasy Grounds?
Sure. So, I just looked back to see when I started purchasing some of the original modules from Fantasy Grounds, and that was April of 2016. So I'm coming up on my 2-year anniversary of diving into Fantasy Grounds, and I think Rob, I found Fantasy Grounds just a little bit after you. I remember probably the fall of 2015. I was looking online trying to figure out what virtual tabletop to use, and of course, there's only one, Fantasy Grounds.
That's
But
right.
But I looked around and, I saw Dave, obviously Digital Dave. And then I saw some guy that would always wear a tank top. He'd kind of have this white tank top. So I saw Schmo, didn't know who he was at the time, thought that's kind of interesting. And then I found you and saw some of what you were doing. And I think, I slowly started, getting into the Fantasy Grounds, and I really enjoyed the sound. So, ever since then, I've loved the community. Met so many great people, and I kind of slowly built into my sound setup from day one, and I've just loved it ever since. So that's my story, mostly 5e. I'm trying to do a little bit of Shadow of the Demon Lord, but haven't really done much other than code a little bit and read the books. But that's me.
Yeah, awesome. And full disclosure, you and I over the last couple years, about 2 years exactly, sort of developed a personal friendship, and we've even gone to 2 events in real life where we've invited some other people from the Discord community to come, and Denver and Dragons, right? And we played, and
Yep.
we've streamed those games. So that's just a testament to the community that the people literally all around the world that are involved with Fantasy Grounds and online role playing, and how it can turn into something pretty cool. But yeah, Gwydion and I specifically really got heavy into the sound modules, and most of you watching now live on Twitch, or if you're watching on YouTube after the fact, if you don't know, we got together and made a sound module for Fantasy Grounds, and we kind of hooked up with Deluxe Oz, who has been on the show before, and we've talked about his extension. And I'll even go to DM's Guild here and bring it up. And Gwydion went to town and just started coding hundreds of sounds, and got together with me, and we sort of projected it up together, if that's a word, projected. I just made it a word.
It is now.
I
It
think
is
it's
now.
pronounced
Joint
projected.
ventured.
But yeah, joint venture. There you go.
Right.
Thank you, Fury. And so we made this Fantasy Grounds sounds, and you can load this into Fantasy Grounds, and it will play sounds based on what happens in the chat window. So if anybody's interested in this, you can get it at Fantasy Grounds at Fantasy Grounds Sounds, it's called, at the DM's Guild. But you do need to be aware that in order to use this, it does require a Syrinscape adventure path. Now, we don't have anything to do with Syrinscape. We're not affiliated with that company or anything. but we just we like what they do, and we like what they offer. And here's what Syrinscape looks like. If you purchase Syrinscape, there's many different sound sets that it has, and I can play a couple examples. Here's a yay. Here's a fire spell, which would be more like fireball.
Fireball.
Yep. Force missile would be magic missile. And there's literally there's just thousands and thousands of sounds, and also different musical backgrounds, and different scenarios that you can just play, and it's really cool. But anyway, just to kind of let everybody know that we wrote a thing where you can have certain sounds trigger in the chat. Like, I think if I just put the word wind, it might start playing a howling wind in the background. It might be kind of faint at first. Let's see if we hear it. Maybe we don't.
I think I'm hearing, but
that is a bad example, though, because it is.
Yeah, that's
anyway,
a tough one.
But anyway,
to
and then
start
there are some things, and that's mainly the reason for the show tonight, is there are some things that are kind of persnickety or peculiar about the way sounds go. Like, some of the sounds don't trigger unless the command for the sound is actually transmitted across the internet from a player to a GM on Fantasy Grounds. So from table to table. Like, yeah, Gwydion, do you want to maybe?
Yeah. So let me, if you don't mind, let me take a quick step back. And I know a lot of the folks that are on the stream know this, but maybe some are going to watch later. And so just really quickly, the reason that we're going through some of this and talking about Syrinscape and Rob showing you this module is Fantasy Grounds in and of itself doesn't have a sound module or capability, just like it doesn't have voice chat, because their decision, which I personally think is the right one, is to really focus on the virtual tabletop. So what people like Deluxe Oz have done, and I think he was on your show just a little while ago, but he created a series of extensions that plug into Fantasy Grounds that basically allow you to play sounds. So that's great. He built the framework, and now what Syrinscape does is really it has all of the ambiances and sounds and things you can play. And what the module that Rob was showing you that he and I created, it really is just a way to plug that module into Fantasy Grounds, and based on what comes through chat, so whether you do an attack, whatever shows up in that chat window, there are hundreds of automated sounds of spells and things that will play and trigger straight out of Fantasy Grounds, as long as you have Syrinscape and you have that module. So
right.
I'll pause for a second.
And before we go too far, I want to show something specific so people don't get confused. But in order for all this to work, you do have to go to the Fantasy Grounds forums and download the Deluxe Oz extension. You need the base extension and you need the sound extension. So you'll see here in extensions, I have base extension and then I have sound extension. And if you turn those on before you load the table, what that'll give you is this sound button over here. Normally you don't have the button called sound. And then in your options, you will have sound here, which you can turn on or off. And those normally don't appear unless you load this extension. So if you load the extension and don't see the button, you can go to your library, and I usually just turn on all, but you'll see the sounds here and you can tick it so that it shows up or not. But that will then make it so you can use the sounds. And then that module that I just showed at the beginning of the show from the DMs Guild that Gwydion and I and Deluxe Oz worked on together, you would load that into your library, and then it has all of the sounds in it that would trigger either from spells or from actions or even from whispering. I think if I try to whisper here, whisper GM, even though I'm the GM, we should hear a whisper sound. Do we? Yeah, as to why that's not working, I don't know. But it should. Maybe one of you guys try and whisper me and see if that works. Oh yeah, she did. Okay, so just make sure I have everything on. Yeah, I got it all on. I don't know why it's not working. But it normally does. Only when we have a live show does it not work.
Right.
But
Can you go back? Go back into your options, Rob. Did you turn it off? You turned it on, but I don't know if
did I turn sound off? No, it's on.
Okay, it's on. All right.
Yeah. And then if I bring up sounds and I find whisper, let's see. No, that's not right. Auto sound whisper. Here it is. Oh yeah, okay, I hear it now. It's really faint.
It might be what's going on because I don't really hear much in my headphones, but it's probably just it's faint.
Oh, I know why. Okay, yeah, I have. I think this has to do with. Whoops. I think it's because I have GM stuff hidden. But there's a lot of, we have videos on how to handle all this. I don't want to go too deep into it because that's not what the show's about. But we suffice it to say there's instructions, and like here I can bring those up real quick. There's massive instructions on let's see. Yeah, instructions. Yeah, it goes through quite in depth. There's a YouTube Twitch Syrinscape tutorial that you can watch, and it tells you what you got to do to get into it. But it's kind of rough to show examples and not explain what's behind it, because that would be like a 3-hour show. But
right. But it's to Rob's point. I mean, one of the most important things, if you test out Syrinscape, don't forget, and this is all over the forums, but I know people still forget, you have to turn, as the DM or the GM, so if you're hosting the game, you have to turn sounds on in your option menu. That got me in the very beginning as well. So don't forget, when you open up the option menu, just as the GM, your players don't need to have it on, but you need to have that turned on.
Right, and I think the default is off. So if you don't remember to do that, it's not going to work, and you're going to be like, why isn't this working? And you have to come here and turn these on. Yeah.
It is off. And the other thing, and again, there's a lot of videos out on this, but just one other minor point is when you launch Syrinscape, like some of the other audio programs, just like Chrome and others, you can't change where you're outputting the sound in Windows, meaning whatever your default playback device is, your speakers or what have you, Syrinscape will play from that. So you have to make sure that you change your audio output to wherever you want it to go before you launch Syrinscape. And as we talk a little bit later, maybe about Voicemeeter, we can describe that a little bit better.
So what Gwydion's talking about is you have to go to your sounds playback device, and you have to change it to whatever you're using. So in my case, I'm using cable B. So before I loaded Syrinscape, I changed this to cable B. I saved it, and then I opened Syrinscape, and then I came back and I changed it back to the audio Voicemeeter, because I'm using something called Voicemeeter Banana, which is part of what you can do. This is what allows my voice, the people in Discord's voice. This is the sounds. This is my computer. So if I'm playing music, that's here, and if I'm playing sounds, that's here. The people in Discord here, and myself here, and I can manipulate and turn on and off. Like if I want to say something private, I can let the stream still play, but I can either turn my voice off or turn their voices off or whatever. So there's videos ad nauseum on YouTube on how to set all this stuff up, and that's not what this show's about, but just to say that that you can do it, or that it's possible. If you guys do have questions, though, type them in the chat. Breakwind, and we'll try to answer those.
And Rob, can you pull up real quick again the sound, or click on the sound button to pull up the Deluxe Oz? Yeah. One other thing to mention, if you go into click on setup and just kind of like start create your own sound real quick. So one thing I just want to let everybody know is, if you look at what Rob has up on the screen now with sound, string, and sound, this is what we've populated for Syrinscape for a lot of the auto chat sound. But the only reason I wanted to point this out to everyone is this extension, and Deluxe Oz probably mentioned this, but you can literally link to any URL for sounds anywhere. So meaning I've got now over 8,000 MP3 sounds on my hard drive. So if I want to play them directly out of Fantasy Grounds and click a button and play them, I can literally set up a sound link here and link to it on my hard drive. So I don't want everyone to have the impression that it's only Syrinscape. I love Syrinscape, but you can do it with sounds from programs like Tabletop Audio that you've downloaded. YouTube. I have a lot of ambiances that I literally like to play right out of YouTube. So just keep that in mind, that this is not just Syrinscape, as much as I love that program.
Yeah, and it is awesome that you can do that with any sounds. And just to show you guys what Gwydion's project initially started doing is he went to Syrinscape and map sound. So you can come here to Syrinscape and you can enable basically sound mapping, and it changes the screen. It gives you a plus, and what the plus does is if I click on that plus, it's now copied the URL to that sound into my memory. And if I just come over here and maybe paste it into chat over here, you can see it's a giant URL that's like really outrageous. Yep. And so we've mapped all the sounds for all the spells and everything. So like Bane, for example, is that sound. And then if the Bane cast is if the Bane spell is cast, or if the word Bane appears in the chat, then you should hear that sound. Now again, it might not work when I do it, but there, yeah, it does. So you can hear hear the Bane sound. So any spell that's cast, any weapon that's used, not 100% of things are coded, because mainly we only used Syrinscape for the sounds, just to be consistent, so that people would only have to draw from one source. But as Gwydion said, you can make sounds, you can do them manually yourself and make any sound from anywhere. But you know, there aren't appropriate sounds, I guess, for certain things. Like we tried to do all the weapons, and we've got a sword swing, and we've got an axe swing, and we've got a punch, but you know, some sounds didn't map, so we don't have 100% of the sounds. But I would say a good 90 or 95% of the things you ever do in Fantasy Grounds are mapped, and so anything that's missing you can do, or you can change things. Sometimes, like I think for a critical, we have the yay. You know, we have the yay trumpets, but people sometimes want to change that, and you can have it be a different sound. You know, you can do whatever you want. So, and
again, I know we're getting a little deep, and I'll stop after this comment. But the other thing too is if there's a chat sound, like I know every once in a while I hear the comment for unconscious, like your character goes unconscious, and you constantly hear the sleep, the yawns sound. You can always go into the chat sound and delete it, or just, you know, make a couple characters in front of it to where it won't trigger. So you can manipulate that however you want. It's not static.
Yeah, I've done that actually in some games. Where,
yeah, me too. Me too.
And let's see, where is unconscious? I don't know why.
It's going to be in chat sounds, and it's probably under, yeah, it should be under unconscious if you, or maybe, it might be,
it's not called unconscious, though, I don't think. It's called...
no, I think you're right. It's like, it could be death, or it could be sleep, or I don't know, something like that. Yeah, that's the instant death. That's a good one, but you can show it that way.
I love that one. But there is... Oh, you know what? I wonder if I just didn't delete it because I was so sick of it. But
you might have.
The point is that you can go. I'll just pick any sound randomly. So this sound of alter self would only be triggered if these these words were in the chat. You know what? I'm gonna not altered self. What's one that like paralyzed or something that
paralyzed? Yeah, there
so
you
like go. If someone is paralyzed and you have on the thing where it shows the conditions every time it's the person's turn, or if it's a monster that's paralyzed, that's gonna every time it's that person's turn, that sound's gonna go off. And so if you're like entirely sick of that, you can either, you know, what I do is I come in here and put some fakakta. I put like a bracket in the middle of the word or something, you know, so now that sound won't work. And then after the game, I can come back and fix it, you know. So that, or maybe even after that particular battle, because you want to hear the paralyzed sound. You just don't want to hear it if a party member's paralyzed for the entire encounter. You don't want to hear that over and over and over and over.
Right.
So, and you can, I mean, since we made this, there's now more complicated things. You can string sounds together, and you can have multiple triggers, and I mean, it's crazy what you can do, but it is super awesome.
So you can try it. So if you can go onto Syrinscape, you can do a trial subscription. That'll only give you a couple of sound packs, but at least you can test out, do I like Syrinscape or not? That what you'll need to use the sound module, just FYI, is at least the Adventure Path subscription. So that's $6.50 a month. And that has all the sounds. And one thing that's interesting, that the way their model works is you get access to all of the fantasy subscriptions or sounds packs with that. And if you ever leave, you own the packs that are released after you start your subscription. So anyway, I think it's reasonable. I do the $10 a month Super Siren, but something you can certainly test out on your own.
I did that too. I do the $10 a month, and what they do is they bill you $20 every 2 months on PayPal. And I do that because I don't do as many games as I was doing, but I was using sounds probably like 3 to 5 times a week on stream, and now I still use them in my Friday game, but and obviously you're only going to use sounds as a GM. If you're a player, your GM would have to do the sounds, but for somebody who is playing Fantasy Grounds on a regular basis, it's something that you can look into. If you're doing a weekly game or even a monthly game, if you want to have the sounds included, it just makes it way more cool and much more fun, I think, to immerse yourself in. And it's just a nice thing to have. So cool.
Maybe a couple of other, just real quick, a couple other places to look. And we don't have to go through them all, Rob, but I'll just mention them. Tabletop Audio is a great place that has free sounds. So if you're looking for sound ambiances, that's a great place to go.
Yeah, and they're all free.
Yeah, and there's a little, if you hover over any of those, Rob, and you see that save button, so on any of the ambiances that are 10 minutes, you can download. And again, once it's on your computer, you can trigger them. You can add them into the Fantasy Grounds through that Deluxe Oz extension, and you can trigger them right out of Fantasy Grounds. So that's kind of nice.
Weirder.
So I think that's
see what they did.
Exactly.
No copyright. No copyright. That's funny.
So I like that one. And on YouTube, you don't have to go to this, Rob, but I'll just throw it out there if people want to look later. Sword Coast Soundscapes, the Guild of Ambiance, and one I just heard about today, Celestial Aeon Project. All of those within YouTube are great channels for just all kinds of background ambiance. So obviously you got to be careful when you trigger it. You might get an ad, so you got to be careful as the DM, but it's there's some really cool ambiances in there as well.
Cool. Yeah, I didn't even know about that. Oh yeah, here, look. They're all. He's got.
There's a bunch of them. There's really
Castle
cool,
Ravenloft,
really good
cool.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're all. Some of these are 2-3 hours long, so you can just let it go and let it run.
Yeah, that is Castle Ravenloft, 3 hours. So if you're playing a 3-hour session, you got the whole thing covered. There you go. And then
you can turn it down, make it soft if you want, so it's not overpowering your players. And that's one thing, not to digress as well, but I try, although I love sounds, I try to limit how often I play them, because and Fury, you can speak to this too in games you've been in, but I do think that it can be overpowering. As much as I love sounds, I try not to go over the top. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, Fury. But.
Oh yeah, no, true. I mean, a lot of times when I'm playing, there's a guy that will have his sound on, and the background noise is overshadowing, the conversation, or overshadowing the player voices. But with certain programs, or even if you know how to use your volume mixer, you can manually just decrease that sound volume and then have everybody else up on high. Like I do that with like my Discord and like my window browsers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Nope.
So that way I can turn my Chrome window down, or my Windows Explorer window down, and have you guys really loud in my ears.
Yep.
And keep in mind too, guys, everybody that's watching, you can play different sources simultaneously. So I could have, like if I want, I can have this Curse of Strahd. Oh man, I love it. I love Rain and Thunder. I can have the Curse of Strahd thing going, which we can hear, and then I can come over to Syrinscape and even add in a laser shot, which is very inappropriate for Curse of Strahd, but you can still do it. Yeah, you can have all multiple sound systems going. Oh, look here, Bugbear 8-bit battle. I don't even have it downloaded. Let's just do it. That's probably going to crash the stream. I shouldn't have done that. No, we're fine. So yeah, really cool. And I mean, we can even leave that going until it gets super annoying in the background. But I love Rain and Thunder, and
I do too. I love that background.
When you guys are,
you even have like that waterfall sound, so that way everyone has to take a bathroom break every 10 minutes.
Yeah, that's right. And what you guys were saying about overpowering sounds, you got to try to get it right, because I think sounds are much better. Like I've seen some streams where the sound was the most prevalent thing, And I think it's much more cooler for it to kind of linger in the background, and then you're playing.
Yeah.
Maybe you don't even, you kind of tune it out a little, but then you're like, wait, what was that? Did you guys hear a wolf howl? What the hell's going on? You know, like.
Exactly.
Yeah, you just don't know what's going on. I just think it makes it for a really cool environment. Let's see, what else were we going to talk about? We're going to give away some prizes on the show. We always give away prizes. So as it happens, I'm going to pull this up in the Fantasy Grounds store. As it happens, we have a sponsor for tonight's show, and who is it? Falcon? Let me find. He's not here. Was he in the chat, maybe?
No,
I don't even think he's here.
Yet.
So let me see if I can find. I want to get his name exactly right, but somebody approached me and said that they would like to give away 5 copies of a module that is a brand new thing in the. Here it is, Falcon, right here. So Falcon is giving away 5 copies of something that Gwydion himself converted. Now, this doesn't have anything to do with sounds necessarily, but it is a new module in the store, and it is called, where is it? Here it is, Book of Heroic Races. And so we will have a contest tonight during tonight's show, and I will pull prizes, or we'll have you guys put in your names in the chat like we always do, and I'll pull 5 winners. And Falcon is going to give 5 of these away, and then we have the guy who created the module with us tonight, so that's pretty cool. And this is a Gwydion, do you want to explain a little bit about what this is?
Yeah, I mean it's a supplement that basically adds 7 new sub races, and it has things like, and you can see it here, Hagborns, Everborns, some really cool new sub races. So I thought it was a pretty neat concept, and I liked the Hagborn. I know Stooner has used that, and he loves the claws and some of the unique things that go with. I think it's the Knight Hagborn, but yeah, it's a relatively small but a cool supplement. So if you're looking for just a few more races, something that's not all that expensive, that this one's $3.99. It's kind of a fun little supplement.
Cool. And I wonder if I have it loaded here. I don't. I put it in.
Oh, I heard that. I'm like, wait, is it raining here? I heard thunder.
Is it raining? Oh my god. So yeah. So we will. As a matter of fact, why don't we do that now? We always do it at a random time. Let's just do it now.
Since we brought it up, might as
Let's
well.
do the prizes. If I can ever find it. Here we go. Keyword. Vecna, not a follower. Oh, I didn't reset the last one. Okay, reset. That was from last time. Keyword raffle. This time is going to be Book
Heroes.
of Heroic Races. Heroes is a good one.
Yes.
Fantasy Grounds module. And we will make it. How about Heroic? Let's do that.
Okay.
So we will start the contest, and we will draw 5 winners. So if you guys want to win a copy of the Fantasy Grounds module, Book of Heroic Races, just go ahead and type in the chat !heroic, and we'll draw 5 winners. So once again, we'd like to thank Falcon for donating those prizes. He PM'd me one day and said, "Hey, I want to give away some of that."
You have it
some of
backwards.
that good. What did I do? Did I do it wrong?
The keyword of the raffle item, you have it backwards.
That's so
You
funny.
did it.
Keyword is.
Oh my god. Oh,
Yeah.
jeez. Okay, everybody calm down. Everybody cancel, stop, reset, stop, panic mode. I fucking don't know what I'm doing. I've never ever done this before. So let's try this.
First time.
So it's heroic is the word. Everybody was typing and it wasn't working. All right, guys, sorry about that. Jesus. All right, so now the keyword is !heroic, as it was, and the prize is. Yeah, I had the keyword. He had to type that whole thing. It would have never worked. Okay, there we go. Fury Fate is in. So I will restart the clock at 5 minutes, and we will continue. I think the rain had me calm down. It was thundering and raining. I love it. I'm all relaxed now. That's my favorite kind of weather anyway. People think I'm nuts. But yeah,
I love the rain.
I love it.
When you're out in society and people approach you and go, "Oh, it's really nice weather," I will be the guy who actually says, "You know what? No. It's sunshine. It's 80 degrees. I hate it. I'm a cave guy. I like rain and thunder, so no." And people just look at me like, "What's your problem, dude?" And
I love like thunderstorms, especially when they
Yeah,
start
it's
shaking the
awesome.
house. I'm like, my power's gonna go out. I'm gonna get the candles ready, but I'm gonna enjoy it.
Right.
Yep.
which is awful because when the power goes out, so does my AC, and then my computer and my internet, and I can't do anything.
Yep.
Oh yeah,
But I'm enjoying the rainstorm.
So we will let that counter count down for people.
Yeah, Rob. While we're letting that, because I think the next logical thing after the raffle is done is probably to go into, well, now how do you get the sounds to the players, so we can maybe talk through some of the different options like Discord and Cleanfeed. But while we're waiting for that, before we get into that topic, I want to mention just a couple other quick things on Drive-Thru-RPG. So again, since this is about sounds, I just want to tell you guys where I get some of my sounds. And if you look on Drive-Thru-RPG, and you type in plate mail games, plate mail being 2 words, there's some really cool sound sets that this guy has built. And his name's Wes, and I can't remember his last name, but I'm a patron of his, and or patron, I guess. And he's got some really cool sounds.
Is it mail as in man?
He's got it. If you click on, if you click on the plate mail games, then you'll see all his sound packs. There you go. So there's just, my only point is there's tons. He's got hundreds. I've got quite a few of them. So if you're looking for something in particular, go take a look at it. And there's some bundles. I mean, it's not cheap, but I found the sounds to be really high quality. And I think he even has a couple of free bundles just to check out his work. So just another place to go. The last one I'd mentioned while we're waiting for the raffle, and don't go to this site, Rob, because it's extremely loud when you open it up, but it's called Ambient Realms, and it's pretty cool because I actually purchased I think it's about 6 gigabyte sound USB stick from that site, and it came with I think 1,000 files. Wow. But that one's pretty expensive. That was like $89. So I'm not necessarily suggesting you guys go out and spend all that money, but if you're looking, and some folks are like me that just want to look at all this stuff, that's another fun site. It's called Ambient Realms. Just be prepared for very loud sound in your ears as soon as you launch it.
Oh, by the way,
it's actually good.
Speaking of Drive-Thru-RPG, that reminds me of Dungeon Masters Guild, and this doesn't have anything to do with the show tonight, but I did want to mention that Monsters Without Borders made the Dungeon Masters Guild newsletter. Just came out today. Man. So for those of you that don't know, go check out Monsters Without Borders. It's a charity version of a bigger product that's coming out soon. And so far, as of the last update, we've raised $756 for Doctors Without Borders, which means that's enough to put 12 doctors, or a doctor in the field for a day 12 times. So it's pretty awesome.
That's awesome.
And I was involved in this. I did the Fantasy Grounds conversion. Special thanks to Rob Tui. And then the full version is coming out. This one has 20 monsters in it, and it's free. You guys don't have to donate. You certainly would we would love it if you did, but you can go put 0 there and pay what you want, so you can get that for free. And just wanted to let people know that we did make the newsletter, so we should have, what we're hoping for. I don't know that it's going to happen, but we are hoping to get the #1 spot. But we are in #2 right now, but that's okay.
That's not bad. But
that's very cool.
Galleries get so much money too.
Anything that has
right there, it says 12 days for the doctors.
Right, and which is awesome. And our goal was 500, and we shattered that. So now we're going for 1,000, and hopefully we can get more. But anything that, a little secret is if you want to get a lot of sales, just put the word Xanathar in your title, and it'll go right to the top.
That's right.
Just put a picture of your mom in there. It's a 1-page PDF, a picture of your mom. But if you have Xanathar as in the title, you'll sell a lot of copies. Okay, that might have been a little bit of a joke there. So let's see. What else do we need? Oh, let's see how we're doing on the prizes.
I was going to say, how's our... Yeah.
Oh, 20 seconds.
Oh, 20 seconds.
There's not even 5 people entered. So everybody's going to get one. So if you want a shot at this Heroic Races, Player Races 1, Book of Heroic Races.
I jokingly put my name in, but if somebody else wants to, they can.
Did you put your name in?
I just did because there's only 4. I mean, you got to give away 5.
I did it too.
Oh my God! So. I was gonna put my name in. Let's see. Okay, so okay, good. Well, that means congratulations to everyone because we didn't even get 5, so everybody gets one. So here's what you do: all those people, Lord Havoc, Nebbiolo, and Chumslinger, PM me in Discord and I need your email and your Fantasy Grounds forum name. I need that as well. So those 2 things. And if you PM me, we'll get you out one of those, and there you go.
Very nice. Thanks again, Falcon.
Oh, and look who's in the chat. Yeah, and thanks to Falcon for footing the bill on that, which is going to end up being $12 or $16, I guess.
Yeah, is that Larry?
Yeah, Leroon is in the chat. How dare you? He's there. I think he must be on his phone at school because he is not at home. I know that. But yes, let's continue. Man, I'm loving it. I might play Rain and Thunder in the background of every single show I ever do because I'm just loving it.
And you can give Leroon my heroic races if you want.
Oh, okay.
All right. So you want to talk briefly? I mean, I probably shouldn't go too deep into Voicemeeter, but I think
we should let everybody know up front that this is an involved.
I think this is.
Yeah, well, go ahead. I've said enough.
No, I'm sorry. I was going to say it's probably just a good time to remind everyone that a lot of what we're covering today, there's all kinds of videos, and we have this discussion later, but we can talk about it again later. But Rob's got a number of YouTube videos on how to set up sounds. I've got a couple of Voicemeeter videos and also setting up sounds. So, whenever you start getting into sounds, if you choose to go down this route, go ahead and look at those videos, and not just ours. There's all kinds of other people that do videos on Voicemeeter and setting up sounds. I think ours are much more geared to Fantasy Grounds, of course, but I would encourage you to watch the videos. The most important thing I would say with Voicemeeter, and this is Voicemeeter Banana. You can see at the top of Rob's screen, it has that yellow banana word. All this does is it really is a way to route all of your different audio sources, particularly when you stream, so that the stream can hear some things, you can hear some sounds in your headset, but maybe not your own voice. And you can also send certain sounds to your players. And if you're going to pipe in sounds through any of the programs that we're about to talk about, I would encourage you to go out to the VB Audio website. And I don't know if you want to pull that up real quick, Rob, but go to the audio website, download some of these programs, watch the videos, and start figuring it out. That's the best way.
Yeah, the best way is to go to the videos and just watch them. And if you're following the videos and you get stuck or you get lost, just start over, because what happens to me a lot is I get emails or PMs from people. Hey, I watched your videos, but I don't know how to. And before they can even get it out, I'm like, yeah, don't ask me, because I'm on the phone with Gwydion every second day, asking him how to. I'm not kidding. This is not a joke. I've gone back and watched my own videos on YouTube like 3 times when I didn't know what I was doing, because I don't remember how to do stuff. I just, but we do have it there, and not just me or Gwydion. There's other people who have it out there too. But and we won't do a deep dive on it, but just to show people how it works, like what we've got set up here. So I have going through B1, I have sounds going to Cleanfeed. Now we'll get into Cleanfeed in just a second, but Cleanfeed is how Gwydion and Fury are able to now hear what the stream hears regarding either music or sound effects or whatever, and that's B1.
And background noise.
And background noise.
The thunder and lightning.
Yeah, the thunder and lightning.
Which we need more thunder and lightning.
We need more of it? It's still going.
We need more.
So
There we go.
Yeah.
There it is. So the background noise playing on YouTube, this Curse of Strahd ambient noise, that is coming through my computer. So for me, I hear that at A1. If I click A1, now I don't hear that sound, but you guys still hear it. So wait, was it? Oh, that laser thing that's a continual thing. It's still going. I thought I heard laser. Okay, so I stopped the lasers. What the hell? What is this 8-bit bugbear? This looks cool. I don't know what it is. We'll get to that later. So if I click B1 here, now I can still hear the sounds, and the stream can still hear the sounds, but Fury and Gwydion don't hear it.
I can't hear it.
Right.
And I missed it already.
Put it back on. Now, those of you watching the stream, if I click B2, you can still hear my voice because that's over here. You can still hear their voices because that's here. But on the stream now, you guys don't hear the background sounds, so I'll put them back on for you. So that's kind of how that works. And this is the computer. What's on my computer that you hear? PC up here. It says music or PC. This right here is Syrinscape. So any sounds coming from Syrinscape, I can turn on or off here. This is the people in Discord. Again, A1 what I hear, B2 what the stream hears. And then this is my microphone. So I would never put on A1 because then I would hear myself and I would freak out and I'd get feedback and get a headache and pass out, and the stream would just be Gwydion in fury trying to call 911. That's what would happen. So, but if I click B2, and so the stream didn't hear that. But anyway, that's how that works. So you can really control and manipulate, especially if you're streaming.
Cheerbits. Cheerbits in the stream. Thanks for the cheerbits.
Fantasy Grounds, College, Cheerbits. I guess, I don't know, he wrote a big message. I wasn't able to read it. I guess the chat would rather hear a female voice anyhow. Cheerbits, Cheerbits, Cheerbits. But anyway, if you guys aren't streaming, I know a lot of you watching it don't care about streaming so much, but you just want the sounds for your game. So you wouldn't really have to dig deep into this. You could just set up the main thing and not worry about having the sound go out to stream, and and it's all connected through OBS, and it's a whole big mess. But anyway, you can watch those videos and it will tell you how to do that.
Yeah, that's the best thing is go to the VB Audio website. And one thing it's important to point out is most everything on his website, so Voicemeeter and Voicemeeter Banana, which just adds the number of inputs and outputs that you can put in for audio, it's all donationware. So I contributed to this guy because I've used it so much. But you can download these programs, try them out, and if you like them, then go back in and donate. The only thing you have to do a donation for is if you download Voicemeeter Banana and you want to get some additional audio cables, and I won't go into what all that means at this point, other than it just allows you to connect more programs into Voicemeeter. You do have to make at least a small donation of like $4 or $5, but it's all donationware. But I would absolutely encourage you to donate. And Rob, it's VB-audio is the website.
Oh, is it? Okay, because he has.
There it goes. It redirected.
It's
so
voice.
It redirected.
Yeah, it's Voicemeeter with 2 E's, I think. Yeah, okay. So yeah, if you go here, you can
download it right there. Yep.
You can download it right here for free, and then donationware if you want cables A and B. Which if you're streaming, you probably do, but if you're not, you probably don't even need that. Because if you're just doing it for your friends, which kind of I guess leads us into Cleanfeed a little bit. That would be a logical place to go next.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, as Rob opens up Cleanfeed, I mean, one of the things that Rob and I have both done over the last couple of years is tried to figure out the best way to get our players' sounds. And, the things that I always worry about is, one, what's the quality of the sounds? How does it sound to the players? Two, can they easily control the volume so that if they want to turn down the sounds, they don't want to turn maybe my voice down, or maybe they do, but they might want to turn down the sounds only. And then the other thing that's important to me is latency. And what I mean by that is just if I trigger a sound and it plays 4 seconds later, that's not a great experience. If it's like, maybe I'm already talking about the bugbear battle and now it's triggering, somebody who just got knocked unconscious from, 4 or 5 seconds ago. So those are the things that are really important to me. And what I like about Cleanfeed is it's a browser-based application, nothing to download. And essentially, you can connect your players directly into Cleanfeed at cleanfeed.net. And this was really set up for podcasters doing live radio programs. So it's intended to be a two-way communication. But I found that the quality is great, very little latency, and it's pretty simple to set up and send out to your players and have them connect to it. The one big caveat right now is that you have to use Chrome. So I know that's going to be a deal killer for some of you, but I think they're working on expanding it. But it's free, completely free, and it's directly in your browser. And I don't know that we want to show all the ways to configure it. We can show a little bit of that if you want, Rob. But the most important thing is that it's simple, browser based, and it's free.
Yeah,
and it does work on the invite system. And when you invite somebody, you make sure you put their name or their name that you want shown.
So
that way,
you would be here, whoever you are, the collective you. This would be when you open cleanfeed.net. You're going to be up here at the top, the user, and then you're going to basically send an email to each player. So you put their name in here, and then you click on advanced. If you don't have advanced, it doesn't show you the email or the send by email. You can also share a link with them. But I found
Cheerbits in the stream. Thanks for the
Cheerbits from Leroon. Oh,
Nice.
And by the way, I need to thank Brandon for the follow. Brandon101, thanks for the follow, buddy. I find the easiest way to do it is put someone's email in here, and then and then you can send it to them, and you click invite, and they'll get an email that gives them a link directly here, and when they receive that, they'll show up here. And then Gwydion talked about two-way communication, but since you're playing sounds only and you're only wanting your players to get output, and you don't care about them, you don't care about their input, because obviously that's happening in Discord, is you just mute them. You just mute your players over here like that, and it'll show you that they're muted. That way the sound's only going one way. And so the players...
Yeah, that's important.
Yeah, so the players now, so Gwydion and Furied, they hear the sounds they're hearing, and any music I might play, and any other sounds on my computer, they'll hear through this. But my voice, they're hearing in Discord. So we're all here, and the three of us are here in Discord right here, and I'm sharing my screen with them, which is what that looks like. And so... see, aren't you glad I dotted that, Fury? I dotted it on the screen right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Celestian from the chat, he's asking, or he's mentioning, you can do the same thing for free with VLC Media?
Yeah, and there's
I
probably...
I don't know what VLC Media
There's
is.
probably 4 or 5 different... I know that when I was on the podcast the other day with James Introcaso, he used... now I can't even remember the name of it, but it was really cool because it looked similar to this, but it had each of our voices here, and when we were talking, it showed like the sound things going across, and then it's all browser based and it's all live, but it also uploads those to the cloud, and then he's able to go back for podcasting, and he can per channel. There were 4 of us in there with him, and when he replays it and edits the podcast together, he can turn off 3 sounds and only the person who's talking's voice. So like if somebody sneezes or coughs or whatever, you wouldn't hear that because he can.
No, is that a different program, or are you talking about Cleanfeed?
No, it was called.
different. Something?
Yeah, it was called. I can't remember what the hell.
VLC
There's some other.
Media?
Well, VLC Media is just
that's what Celestian's talking about.
No,
oh, interesting.
It wasn't Zoom either, but I just can't remember.
That's all right. That's all right.
I load these things
now,
on my machine, and then I do the podcast, and then I quickly delete it because I'm one of these. I'm a purist. I have to have my hard drive has to have nothing on it that I don't need, and I never save anything.
And Rob, to your point on this one, even if you go up to the top left where it says record right above your microphone.
Yeah.
So if you click on that, you can record, and you can record it individually, like everyone. And you're already doing this, obviously, through OBS. But you can do separate tracks for each of us if we were doing two-way communication. So there are a lot of different things you can do with this as well.
This might be the thing. I mean, this might be very, very similar to doing that. Yeah.
Yeah. One other thing, and if before you leave this, on the top right of Rob's screen, Rob, can you hover over the volume master? Yeah. So as a player, my screen looks almost identical to Rob's. But one thing that's important is, again, since this is Chrome, if I change my volume because I want these sounds higher or lower, I'm going to change everything on my computer. So there is a Chrome app that you can download called Volume Master. I found it very, very helpful because now you can individually by tab lower or raise the volume in Cleanfeed without messing up with anything else in your system. So what Rob's doing right here, if he changes the volume, that's only going to change that tab in Chrome. So I ask my players if they download or if they play in my games and they use Cleanfeed and we all want to use that, definitely download this so you can raise or lower the sound volume.
Oh, this is cool. I never even know. So it tells me tabs playing audio right now. So I can go over here to YouTube, and then I can go here and I can make YouTube louder.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's really super cool.
It's pretty cool, and it's again free and nice program.
Yeah, and so if anybody wants to find that, you just go to, if you're in Chrome, just go to where is it? Isn't there extensions? So more tools and extensions, and then you can search for it here. And I think it's called
Volume Master.
Yeah, so you'll find
it.
You type in volume and you'll find it, and then you can add that extension, which I already have it added. So, good times. All right, that was the wrong thing. We don't need that. Good times. Now, if I kill Cleanfeed, they're not going to hear the sounds anymore, so I'm not going to do it. We already covered that. Good. We're moving right along. Excellent. So, guys, if you have questions about this, you can type them in the chat. If you have questions about anything, type them in the chat. We take all comers. YouTube videos, we talked about that. Very good.
Yeah, I think the other thing maybe to touch on before we move on to kind of the final is, as most people probably know, there's many other ways to stream your sounds. Like Rob uses Discord. Some people use TeamSpeak 3. I know I shouldn't use that word, Rob. I know it's a bad word.
You might as well say Roll20, motherfucker.
Whoa. Man, you went right to it. And then I used, before I went to Cleanfeed, I used VLC. So Fury, you had mentioned VLC Media Player, but that's actually a pretty nice, it's free, as most of you know, but VLC Media Player, it's a little bit complex, but there's a number of videos out there on how to set up VLC to stream your sounds. But that's a nice solution too. The latency was a little bit more than what I found with things like Cleanfeed and Discord. So I really liked VLC for the quality, and the players really liked it, but I found the latency, I couldn't get it down to where I really felt like it was almost instantaneous.
Whoa. What do you know, hookers?
I know, I was just looking at that.
No,
said,
Hooker's,
yes.
Hooker's good. Hooker's good.
Okay.
Yeah, he said, wait, yes.
Hooker's good. I actually prefer sluts over whores because whores charge money and sluts just give it away. So I'm liking sluts better than whores. I don't know how this all happened. I don't know what happened. I lost my mind. But I really, since you introduced me to Cleanfeed, that's my new go-to thing. I like, because the latency is barely anything, if anything, and it works. And and a really cool thing is, like my Friday game, like I was telling you before the show, one of the players wants to hear the sounds. Two of the players could care less, and the other player can't do it because she has a computer from 1987 and she doesn't want to add anything extra to it or whatever, or do it. But this way, if some of your players enjoy the sounds, you can play them for that player only and yourself, and then the other players don't have to be subjected to it. Whereas if you did it through Discord or whatever, they'd have to either, I mean, they really, it's all or nothing. You can't mute somebody in Discord without muting them all the way, right? So
Exactly.
Lothos, thanks for the follow. Welcome to the stream. So I like Cleanfeed because you can channel it out or just give it to people who want it, and other people don't have to worry about it, and it's pretty awesome. Plus, it is a good way, especially when I stream. I usually start an hour before and play music. Now the people that are in the chat with me, waiting for the stream, they can listen to music live rather than on the stream, which is like 8 seconds delayed, so that when they hear me singing, they're like, "What are you doing, and why doesn't it match the sound?"
Like you were doing earlier.
Yeah. But if you
Your
hear the
own
music,
theme song.
exactly, to my own theme song that
Right.
I made. But if you, it's really cool because any sound I play on my computer, the players can hear, and they don't have to monitor the stream and worry about the time delay and then put the volume down or whatever. They can either just turn it on or off. So
And on the other hand, you don't have to worry about them watching the stream and seeing, what things are happening, or the traps are, or the encounters. They can just be listening to.
Exactly.
Yeah,
That's key too.
So cool. So before we get to the last thing, which we see here, we're going to tell people about, did we miss anything, Gwydion? Did we not cover anything that we thought we might want to talk about tonight?
I mean, the only thing, I know we're running up against the hour, but I'll just mention a couple other things real briefly. And
we don't have to, it's not a hard out, so if we go over it.
Okay. All right. I mean, the only other thing I would mention that I've been playing around with, but again, I haven't really jumped in completely, is around the sounds, is the voice changing software stuff. So there are some things out there that I would just mention that if you are interested, if you're like me, that I suck. I absolutely am horrible with changing my voice. But every once in a while, every once in a while, I'd like to sound like a demon or throw something out that just totally throws my players off. And there's some programs out there. MorphVox Pro is one that Trenlo on the Fantasy Grounds forums and some of the folks have used. I haven't been able to use that very successfully, but a lot of people say they really like it. And I think it's about $40. Yeah, there you go. So it's not cheap, but you can try it and test it out, and it kind of sits inside Voicemeeter to some degree, and you can use it to make your voice sound like an elf or, female instead of male.
And you can do a certain amount of voice manipulation. Like, doesn't my voice sound odd now?
Yeah, you can, absolutely.
Does my voice sound weird to you guys now by me doing that?
It does not.
Oh, okay. So then I don't have that set right, but
I think that's it. But you're right. In Voicemeeter, you can make it deeper, you can make it higher, and you can do some compression and things right into.
So I obviously
Voicemeeter.
don't have my thing set the right way like I should. God damn it! But whatever. You know me. I freak out. If any one setting is off, I have to melt down and take vacation, and then I can figure it out.
Right. The other one I've been playing with is called Simple Monsters by Krotos Audio. And again, these are on the higher end, so I'm not advocating, say, go out and spend all this money. I'm the kind of guy that I just like playing with new stuff. So I get it all and decide what I'm really going to use. So this shows is $99. I paid for a light version that was $49, and then I upgraded. You can see the little button down here that says upgrade from Dehumanizer Light for $40. So I ended up getting a program called Dehumanizer Light and this Simple Monsters. And what I like about this is there's all these sliders that you can manipulate your voice any way you want, and it's really pretty nifty. But there's all kind of nifty. I can't believe I just used that word. But it's pretty cool. But there's all kinds of programs like this. So if you're looking for them, just Google it. And this is a more professional one, at least from my standpoint. And this is a plugin. So I don't want to digress, but Simple Monsters basically is a plugin that you'd have to use within a DAW. So a digital audio workstation like Ableton Live or Reaper or something like that. So that gets pretty complicated unless you really want to get into that. But I use Ableton Live Lite and I plug this in. But anyway, one more thing.
Interesting parameters: the size, the fury, age, wilderness, character.
Yeah, you got your own slider.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Fury. Yeah.
I know. It's all about me.
So yeah, and I didn't even know about. I don't think I ever even knew about this. But who did you say uses this?
Trenlo uses it.
Trenlo's. Yeah. Okay. And
I've
like never.
An Asian girl.
Yeah, that's Trenlo right there. He's an Asian girl.
Yeah.
I have never used. I actually did in the program that shall not be named, TeamSpeak 3. I actually, and this was 2 years ago, right when I first started. One of my DMs, I think Melvin, the guy that ran us through Curse of Strahd, he used that, and I asked him about it, and he would use it for like the old lady, the card reader lady, and some other things. And so, when I found out you could do that, I became interested in it. But I got so focused on stuff that you can do with this,
right?
That you can make background stuff and actually spell sounds. I thought that was way cooler than anything. But if you manage to be able to do it all, and if you want to go out and spend a few extra bucks to do voice changing stuff and whatever, that's awesome. Because imagine, with Fantasy Grounds as your tabletop, with maps and tokens and dice rolling and everything that you need for the game. You tell people turn off the lights in your house and dim your screen on your computer, and let's play us some role playing games with voices and everything. You can really make this
it's pretty
awesome. Yeah.
What I do for my one shots is I'll go into Ableton Live, which is my digital audio workstation, and I'll map out by room what sounds I want to play. And I can trigger them off of a sound pad that I have. And so, it gets crazy but
that sounds
it's
like
fun.
Freaking cool. Like as a player, you walk into the sound, you automatically have the squeaking door or the squeaks of the rats running away from us.
It's pretty fun, but you can get a little crazy, and that's probably the point where I'm like, I've gone too far, probably pull it back a little bit. And this, Rob, this is the Ableton Live Lite.
Is too far.
No. Ableton Live Lite actually comes packaged with other software. So like when I purchased
Cheerbits in the stream,
the sound USB drive from Ambient Realms, I got a free version of Ableton Live Lite. I would never pay for this. If you are going to go out and look for a DAW like this, there's Reaper, and you don't have to go to all these, Rob, but there's Reaper is basically donationware. You can use it for free forever, but they ask for a $60 donation. So Reaper, REAPER, is a pretty good, from what I've seen, that's a really good solution, much less expensive. And I think it offers most of the same things that, at least from what I've seen, that Ableton Live Lite uses.
But you can see that.
So there's so much out there.
Yeah, if you go to Google and just start searching for audio, so I mean, there's probably dozens, if not hundreds, of different solutions, and you can dig around and find stuff that's either shareware or payware or freeware or whatever it is, and you won't have to. But I mean, it's just whatever works best for you and your world, then you can do it. But it is available for you to create sounds for your players to have, and there's even there's other solutions. What's that? There's another.
Oh yeah.
What's another company that does? They're kind of like Syrinscape, but they do. Oh,
BattleBards.
BattleBards, that's what it's called.
Yeah, I was going to mention them. I tried them, and I actually have a subscription. Or at least I downloaded a lot of sounds. Where I stumbled with BattleBards is it's very complicated from my perspective as a DM that streams to navigate the copyright issues. Because with Syrinscape, as long as I give Syrinscape, a props and shout out, they're great with you using it. BattleBards has individual copyright agreements with each author. So there's a lot of hoops. I think they're trying to change it, but I just can't use it.
Yeah,
it's cool stuff.
So that could be a problem. And I might have looked at this one time too, because I recognize having been at this website, but there was something right away that I was like, oh, I'm out, and that might have been it. But I hear a lot of people use it. I hear is I don't hear streamers using it, but what I do hear I hear stories over and over and over about people using it at their home games at their kitchen table. Because you can press a button and get a lot of awesome sounds and stuff too. So
it's really cool.
Maybe you wouldn't be doing that with Fantasy Grounds, even though I try to use Fantasy Grounds even at kitchen table games, because I use it for the initiative and the combat tracker, right? But so we could go on and on. We could go on for 3 more hours about sounds, but suffice to say that there's enough for people to dive into out there, and you can find solutions that work best for you, and you don't necessarily have to do what other people are doing. You can make your own thing happen, and there's videos that we've done, but there's also other videos about. I'm sure that any software that's available, there's a YouTube video for it. Somebody's done it. Yeah,
there is. I do that all the time. It's just search on YouTube, and there's videos on almost anything you can think of. The last one I had, Rob, that I didn't want to forget, and again, we're getting on the fringes of, the last couple topics have been on the fringes, but the last thing that I purchased recently is from RY Audio. It's called Sample Librarian. See if you can, you should be able to pull it up. And the reason I got this, if you guys heard me earlier, I have 8,100 MP3 sounds downloaded on my computer, and none of those are Syrinscape. What's cool about this, and I don't know, I'm trying to think if you can pull up a better screen, or I don't know but what it allows you to do is, like on my hard drive, I've got them all in one folder, but I can go in and tag, and I'm going to do a video on this, so we don't need to belabor it too much, but you can essentially categorize your sounds so that I can say, okay, I want thunderstorms. I'm going to tag all of these sounds as thunderstorms and go in here and search, and in 2 seconds pull up every single thunderstorm sound I have. Because I found with all the MP3s I've downloaded, I love the ambiances, but they're not named anything that really makes sense to me to search for. So I find myself searching over and over for the right sound. So I'm going through a massive project of tagging everything using this software, and then it's really easy for me to copy and paste into Fantasy Grounds to trigger sounds. But anyway, it's $36, but for me, having that many sounds, being able to tag them, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's almost like the same type of a project for tokens. You got 8,000 tokens. You got to go name them all something that makes sense. So when you search for them, you can pull them up really fast.
Yeah, and I forget the programs that were out there. There were a lot of, like, just when you pulled up Ableton and you're like, whoa, $500. There's a bunch of programs, and I can't think of what they are, that do this kind of categorizing and tagging, but they're much more complicated, and they're like $200 or $300. So for me, for like $35, $36, being able to organize them, this I think is going to help me a lot in the future.
Cool.
So
cool. So here's the big question that nobody's really asked it, but everyone always does ask it, when we're not having a show. what should people do if they get stuck, or if they're setting up their sounds and they run into a snag or they can't figure it out? What should they do? And my answer to that is go watch our videos that we made, because I've had to watch my own video 3 times since I made it.
Yeah.
Because if my hard drive, something happens, or because if you email me or PM me directly, Rob Tui, I'm not going to know the answer. I really won't. You'd think I would, but my memory issues, and I just don't even know. And so before I would even be able to help somebody figure it out, I would have to go watch the video myself. So my advice is, if you got these videos on YouTube that either I made or Gwydion made, or you found other ones for the particular sound setup you're looking for, and there's many other people that have done it, especially when hooking it in with Fantasy Grounds and stuff, just go watch those videos again and either take notes or pay particular attention, or pause the video and do things step by step, whatever you have to do. That would be my advice. Gwydion, would you have anything to add to that?
No, I think first, look at all the YouTube videos, a lot out there. Second, I know I'll probably regret this, but I don't mind. I mean, I don't mind if people want to come to my Discord. I do have a channel in chat that's all things sounds, and if people want to start using that as a way to, connect with me, but also, exactly, also connect with other people that are looking for sounds. The only thing I would say is, as much as I love to respond to people all the time, and I try, I don't always have the time to respond immediately, so I don't want anyone offended. I definitely want to help you, and if I can, I'll always jump in and try to help someone. But feel free to message me there on Discord, and I'll try to jump in and help. If there's something that you just really get stuck, you've gone through the videos, you've looked at everything, and you just can't get that last piece to work, I'm happy to try to help.
Cool. Awesome. So it looks like we've covered everything. Just as a reminder, it looks like I got messages from Chumslinger and Nebbiolo. I think I'm missing Lord Havoc. So Lord Havoc, don't forget to PM me with your email and your Fantasy Grounds forum name, so we can get you a copy of the Book of Heroic Races, as per completed and modularized by Gwydion himself. And we will do that. And I think if there's no other questions in chat, I thought we would have a ton of questions, to be honest. I thought people would be like, "Oh my God, how do you do this? How do you do that?"
It's a lot.
But it is a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot to cover. It's a lot to go over.
And we just pimped out Gwydion for any type of tech support.
That's right.
That's right.
Wait a second, my chat's blowing up.
Yeah. And here I'll type his personal home phone number in the chat. Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
Well, you already gave out my name. I'm not going to say where, but you got my real name now. Oh my God!
You can't hide. My real name is not too tough to figure out. As a matter of fact,
I know, right?
I would use my real name, but nobody could spell it, which is why I did the 2E thing.
Right. Hey, Rob, one thing we didn't mention that we should probably, in deference to Deluxe Oz, is on the DMs Guild, in addition to the chat sound library, I don't know that we mentioned the DOM sound link library. And people might be a little confused as to what those are.
He just put one out today. Here it is. So every month, Deluxe Oz puts out sound links. Here we go. He changes it every month, and he charges $5 for it. And we don't have anything to do. This is his whole thing. And so, Gwydion, do you want to tell people the difference between that and then the sound module that we have?
Yeah, so the main difference is what our module does is it just seeks to automate as many chat sounds as we can. Again, those one shots, the spells, the attacks, the misses, all those things. What the DOM sound link library does is it looks at all the Syrinscape sounds, so off the player that Rob pulled up, and it basically, instead of doing that copy and paste all those links that Rob was showing you how to hit the plus sign and copy a link, paste it in, this sound link library takes all of those Syrinscape sounds and creates the links. So once you have this, you can open it within Fantasy Grounds and you can search for it right within Fantasy Grounds and find the link right there. So it's really useful if you're going to create your own libraries and your own ambiance and you want to find it and look up Thunder, something like that. And I buy this from Deluxe Oz. I use this and the chat sound library that we created. So I use them both.
I've got it right here. I think mine is a couple months back, but I have it right here that I bought from him. And so,
yeah, and you can look at it by one shot, by I think it's mood. I forget the two distinctions, but
oh, I know why. There we go.
Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, you can look at them alphabetically or by sound set, and so I mean, and there's what is it 4,200 of them all
I don't remember.
So you want to get like a gunshot, let's say, or handgun. Here we go, handgun, modern weapon, and then bam. Did you hear it?
Yeah, so that link's right there. I did. Yeah, we did.
So so if you then have our sound module and you want to go over here and make a let's open sounds. Whoops, hello. And you want to go create a new sound. You can go to setup and create a new sound. Then you can just find one of these links and oh, there it is. And I think you can actually drag it over.
That's the point, is you can.
Boom.
Yep. So it's pretty cool, particularly when you're trying to create your own. It's really nice, and it's $5. And you don't even, Deluxe Oz would say, you don't have to buy it every month. What you're getting, just to be clear, is as Syrinscape comes out with new sound packs every month, those are added to Deluxe Oz's library. So to Rob's point, I probably buy it every quarter, maybe every 2 or 3 months, because I want to support Deluxe Oz for all he does.
Yeah.
And once you get maybe 5 or 10 additional sound packs, I want to get them in there, But anyway, those are the differences.
So at the top of the show, I loaded that 8-bit battle thing, and then here's the other one. You can tell every month, if you have Syrinscape, you can tell which ones are new because they're grayed out, and then you have to load them in. So I'll load in the Temple of the Jade Dragon. Oh my god, it sounds cool. And so every time there's new stuff, he basically adds that to his thing, and then he repopulates it on the DM's Guild. So it is a new thing every month. It's sort of like a subscription. You don't have to buy each one, but every time you buy an updated one, you're going to give him $5. And always remember, everybody, that he gets $2.50. He doesn't get $5.
Right, that's a good point.
Because WotC and OBS take their cut, whatever they have to get. Oh, good. There's Havoc. Okay, so I have all 3 people emailed me.
Nice. Hey, Rob, did you see, and again, I know we're getting that's okay. We can go off topic. But for Syrinscape, since you had that up again, the only other thing that triggered for me is Syrinscape has a license for Pathfinder. So a lot of the sound sets they create, you're going to see adventure paths or whatever. I'm not a Pathfinder guy, but you're going to see a lot of them that are specific to Pathfinder. But obviously we use them for all of our 5e games. But what I wanted to mention is they just signed a license for Call of Cthulhu. So if anyone is listening to this really likes Call of Cthulhu, I don't know how those adventures work or if they're paths or whatever, but you're going to start seeing more custom sounds now. They're going to be more on the horror side, directed to the Call of Cthulhu adventures or modules,
cool.
Whatever they're.
That is cool. Yeah, I see they have Pathfinder Society. They've got 3 sets.
Yeah, a lot of these are specific to those adventure path modules or whatever. But they still work for what we're trying to do. I wish they had a 5e license, but don't know that that's going to happen.
Yeah, the only thing that I don't like about Syrinscape specifically is I would really like to be able to search. Like you can type in thunder and then there's something thunder in all of these. In
right.
Every, but if they had like that'd be great. But
no, you're right, and that's why I think the deal in SoundLink library is really helpful.
Yeah,
because you can do just that.
He actually has done that, hasn't he? So if I go back to here, I go alphabetical sounds, and I type in thunder. Oh my God! See, yeah, $5 is. He should charge way more for it. I'm gonna buy it right now before he raises the price.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we talked to him about that, but I never did ask him like how many is he selling or And the thing is, he it's a different one every month. So most people when they put something on the DM's Guild or Drive Through RPG, they just update it and it's the same thing forever and ever. But his is actually a new thing every time. He takes down the old one and he puts up the new one. So it's not it doesn't get updated. It's literally a new one each time. So.
Yep.
But yeah. So cool. Did we get any questions in the chat? I don't think so.
I'm looking. I don't think I see any more.
$5 to make
random
Hillary.
things.
Holla, Hillary. See you guys, Leroon couldn't stay away from the show. He wasn't here, but he was here anyway.
Couldn't help
And that's
himself.
another thing.
He's a trooper.
There's no longer Tuesday shows. We should tell everybody about that.
Oh, thank you for that. As a matter of fact, I was bringing up the schedule.
Right.
So this is the last Tuesday show, at least for a while. We might come back, but for the foreseeable future, we are doing Sundays only. Next couple show, we're going to talk about streaming with Lazy Stooner on Sunday. He's going to give away, and I quote, a ton of shit. He's going to give away a lot of prizes that day. And
So don't miss that show. Be there early.
Be early for that. Upcoming shows, account management, talking about hooking in your Paizo account to Fantasy Grounds. Also, if you have Steam or not, other third-party mods and stuff. We're going to talk about that. Module making with FSH Schmo is going to be a show, and especially Adventures League. And Schmo just took over Midgard from me. I passed the Midgard campaign to Schmo because the next thing that they put out for Midgard was he's doing it. He's working on it now. It's a 426-page, like, like a campaign setting with. Oh my God! I was like, oh, I can't, because if you look over here, oh, Jesus, if you go over here to Rob Toohey projects, the reason I had to give it to him is the things that are in black are things that I'm working on or will be working on. So let me scroll all the way down here. This is all the stuff I've ever done. So I have these current projects. I have Monsters of the Guild. When they give me the final PDF, I got to go to work on that. I'm still working on Savage Jungle from Jeff Stevens. I have 14. You know that there was Quest of Doom 1, 2, and 3. There were single items. Now they broke Quest of Doom 4, and I didn't know this when I asked to do it. I said, hey, let me do Quest of Doom 4, and James said, okay, and he sent me 14 PDFs. So there's 14 of them. And then I still have K Wood's Dungeon Masters Bundle 2 that I need to have put on my list. Mines of Chult I just got. Adventure Unknown Whom 2 is never going to happen. And the only reason I say that is I can't. It's last on the list, you guys. I do the stuff that's going to get me money first. Monsters of Phaland Kickstarter. If that kicks over to enough for the Fantasy Grounds, what do you call it? Stretch goal, I guess you call it. Then I'll be doing that as well. It's 23,000 Canadian. Why can't I ever find that Kickstarter? I always can't find it. Maybe that's why it's not getting as much money.
Is it Fey Weald? WEALD?
Is it? How about this? We'll do.
I think you almost had it.
K-Wood will find it. Kickstarter. By the way, guys, if you haven't checked this out, do check it out because it's pretty cool. It's basically a bestiary of 100 Fey monsters, and Fey is very much underrepresented in 5e. Cool. So 10 days to go, and he needs another. He needs another 5,500 American. It's in Canadian, so it's 22,000 Canadian, which is 14,000 US, and the Fantasy Grounds stretch goal is 23,000 Canadian. And so if it gets that far, then the prolific Rob Toohey has worked with us a number of times and will do the Fantasy Grounds conversion. So if you want to see this in Fantasy Grounds, you got to go back it, because Rob Toohey's got to get paid. What's up?
The prolific Rob Toohey. You gotta have that in.
And so, but yeah, check this out. Monsters of the Phaland. That's what Feywild. I keep calling it Feywild, and it's Phaland. So it's Monsters of the Phaland for 5th edition on Kickstarter. 10 days to go, guys. What else was I? Oh, back to my projects. Yeah, so you can see that I had to give Chris. I would have never, that in a 420-page book that would have been. And I've got Tomb of Beasts 2, Tome of Beasts Creature Codex coming up, and Matt Colville's Kickstarter. I don't think I'm going to get that, but it is possible. It might happen. That guy's a millionaire now. 2.5 million. Yeah. How much did he make on it? It was a lot. He made a lot of money. Colville Kickstarter. Let's find out. See, now, I don't care if it's the show. We're going to go find out. Yeah, Strongholds and Streaming by Matt Colville made $2.1 million. Unfucking believable. 30,000 people almost backed that. 28,000.
Wow.
And what's interesting is he's got about 50,000 YouTube followers, so only about half of his followers backed this, and then other people, I don't know, but it's crazy. He was on the
Wow.
Fantasy Grounds Friday show with Doug and Dave one day. Anyway,
Yeah.
so I might get that, but I might not get that. I don't know. Maybe they're going to be like, I want you to turn some of this other shit in first, buddy.
Remind them that you're prolific.
Right.
I'm very prolific.
Just-
I have 105 things for sale, so I'm that prolific. In 2 years, I did 105 things, including my comedy book on Amazon.com. What's up? Fuck.
Nice shameless plug-in.
Yeah.
So I think
Awesome.
we've covered it all. I didn't see any questions in chat.
Nah, they're playing games.
Are there any people in
Yeah.
chat? That's what
Almighty.
So
There are people.
we've got an episode with Zacchaeus coming up that we've already pre-recorded. That'll be on May 13th. The
Cool.
only reason it's playing that day is because we already had all this other stuff booked, and we just recorded that the other day. That was the first slot. We are gonna do a show 2 days after Mordenkainen's Tome comes out on the 18th. We're gonna do a show on the 20th, and we'll give away a copy of that as per Fury's idea earlier tonight. She recommended it, and I said, yeah, it's a good idea. And then the one I didn't say was XML. We're going to do a show with GeoQuester. So we've got, that's what's coming up in the next month and a half or so, and we're just going to keep plugging away until forever. Until the rain
Until we
and thunder
run out of
stops.
something.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Or until somebody shuts this down for violating
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, we Rob said fuck too many times. We got to shut him down.
Right. Lawsuits,
I would have been
whatnot.
shut down 2 years ago if that was the case. Nobody minds the F word. Everybody loves it. You know how I can tell everybody loves it? Because there's children. And I hate children. I hate them. I'm the guy who,
Oh.
I'm the guy who believes that if the human race were to die out just because nobody gave birth anymore, I'm fine with that. I'm perfectly fine with it. I'm okay with it. I don't care about the future. I'm not married. I don't have kids. I don't care. Why do I give a shit? I'm gonna live another
Alrighty
20 or
then.
30 years and then fuck everybody else. I don't care.
Oh, these are such happy notes to end the show on.
Right? What a high note.
Let's just turn up the thunder and the lightning.
Come on,
and just
yeah.
drown Rob
By the
out.
way, you can't see it, but my power cord's tangled in my feet. I'm about to rip this laptop off my. Oh, it's a
Okay.
disaster over here. It's karma. It's karma. Somebody's coming after me for the children hate speech. But yeah, no, kids aren't my thing, man. They don't really do anything for me. One fun thing though to do with kids that are like between maybe 5 and 8 is you ask them adult questions. You say like, "Oh, where do you go to college?" or "What kind of car do you drive? Are you married?" And, you just freak them out when you ask them stuff like that. I love it. It's fun.
And I'm all for
Rob
freaking out children.
Rob gives no fucks. Oh shit. All right. Well, I would like to thank Gwydion for coming. I'd like to thank Fury for stepping in for Leroon. And
The slacker.
He's a slacker. And he also cheered about 9,000 bits in the stream tonight, which is awesome.
Oh, well.
He does that just to interrupt me. It's funny. And any final words, any parting words for you guys or gals that are with me this evening? Would you like to say anything before we shut it down?
Well, no, thanks for having me, and I hope folks learned a little bit, and go out and search all the videos and try a bunch of stuff.
Link that we mentioned, all the different programs, see what you like, enhance your role-playing experience.
That's
exactly,
right.
and start
That's exactly what it's
slow.
about. Start slow. Don't over. I mean, if you get frustrated, just do what I do. Panic 2 minutes before the stream and call Gwydion when he's on vacation with his family in New York. And
That was so
have
funny.
him talk you down off the ledge, and it turns out you forgot to press that one button. That's it. So, all right. Well, on behalf of my co-host Fury Fate and my special guest Gwydion, I would like to thank everybody for watching tonight. We will see you back here on Sunday for the next show, and for tomorrow's stream, we will be playing the Wednesday night game. So if you want to join us at 6 p.m. Pacific for Tales from the Yawning Portal, we will be there for that. And until such time, good gaming, everyone.